I'm going to only discuss this briefly. We will talk more about this in the coming videos about the history of warfare, but I think it's instructive at the moment about this MRA debate to describe to people exactly how things worked in the ancient world. This comes from Book 6 of Thucydides' History of the Peloponnesian War, Penguin Classics edition. I believe this was printed up in... Yeah, this is the originally translated in 1954, redone in 1972, and I don't remember when exactly they reprinted it. It doesn't say. But this is one of the best translations, and I want to read to you all the typical fate of people within a city when they refuse to capitulate to invaders, and what would happen when the invaders entered the city. For brevity's sake, I will describe this. This is actually the Melian dialogue. I don't know if anyone remembers Rob's old channel. This is what this was based on. And this is what they say of the siege of Melians. Melos, as it would be called otherwise. Siege operations were now carried on vigorously, and as there was also some treachery from inside, the Melians surrendered unconditionally to the Athenians, who put to death all the men of military age whom they took, and sold the women and children as slaves. Now, according to some nitwit like Rocking Mr. E or Pine Grove or any one of the endless drove of morons who call themselves MRAs, this would have to have been a famine part of Athens in ancient times. There's a problem there, boys. Women in Athens weren't even permitted to leave their houses without a male escort. Even marriage in and of itself was seen as a property exchange, and a property exchange only. The most serious vows between the marriage, in terms of the marriage, the most serious vows were taken between the groom and the father of the bride, not between he and the woman herself. So what you're asking us to believe is that some vast feminist conspiracy in ancient times was responsible for the destruction of Melos and countless other cities, the murdering of the men of military age, and the selling of those women and children into slavery. Do you see how this affects the entire population? Not just men, not just women, everyone. This is the nature of war, and this is something that all of you seem to fail to understand. Now, according to all of you, you're not about hate. This is not a hate movement, and as we're going to see, we're going to disprove that right now. This message was left to me by an individual named Shamin Hajuddin, Hajuddin, this morning when I got up, and this is what he says. Hey bro, wait till I get my hands on that 11-month-old niece of yours, you bitch. I will do her ass too. Bitch, you balls to meet me face to face. Bet you rather hide your hypocrite and hand over your niece, you coward. I'ma track you, Jesus, this guy can't spell. You little dicked fuck. Watch your back. I'ma get you little sis mom and everybody, even your ass, you pathetic fuck. So this isn't about hate, huh guys? Now, I haven't decided whether or not to report this guy just yet, or what to do, because I figure that the only thing that will happen is he'll come back with another channel. But the reason that I wanted to describe what was therein was because it really kind of encapsulates what we're dealing with here. The entire MRA movement is a veiled, disguised hatred of women that uses whatever vitriol it can to essentially go after women, not for any real reason, but because they simply don't like women. It is literally the mirror image of radical feminism, only from a male side. Now, here we're going to hear some more from these wonderfully gifted and considerate individuals. This is on Weed Freak 976 video. All these videos I refer to will be in the link in the low bar. This one is titled Michael Crook and Rocking Mr. E Are Sexist Idiots. I couldn't agree more, Whedon. Here we go. Take your medicine, grow up, move out of your mom's basement, learn to be a man and act like a man. By the way, you're not a boyfriend. You're some bitch's bitch. That comes from Hot Chicks and Puppies. Just under 4 hours ago. Dude, just cut your dick and balls off and self-sacrifice to your feminist overlords. You obviously have little to no respect for men or yourself. You're a doormat for women to walk all over. How do you know that a woman isn't lying about rape? Fuck you, and you're just take her word for it justice. Feminists say 1 out of 4 women are victims of sexual assault. That's bullshit. Prove it and stop spouting numbers. But what is real is the 100% of females lie or have lied. That we know. I gotta say, Weed Freak, you really got the brunt of the crazies here. I gotta admit that. This even outdoes the ones I had on my video. By the way, then he goes off on this idiot. Apparently he was raised by 3 women. I haven't had a chance to watch the whole video all the way through yet. I've been looking at the comments, and they're insane. Let's see here. What's another one? He keeps asking them to actually show some proof of their claims, and of course they can't do it. We all know why. Here's something from Thang Too Cool for You. She refers to a case in England. A pregnant woman in England's just been jailed for crying rape. The reason? Because the man she slept with forgot her name. I support that sentence, but it must be proven completely. Rape ruins lives regardless of gender. Sensible, balanced, well thought out, intelligent. Imagine that. But you know what Thing Too Cool for You is? She's a feminist. Nice, huh? Flambeau. The man you are today is a misandrist, and it shows. Right. 1 in 8 rapes in America are reportedly false. I'm sure I don't need to tell you what happens to men in prison who are there for rape. Many men have been falsely imprisoned for rape and have been raped themselves, simply on the woman's word. I'm curious as to your thoughts on that. Shouldn't women be given a long time in prison for falsely accusing a man of raping her? I mean, should DNA not be used and he be sentenced? He will get raped, so basically she is condemning him to rape. First of all, they actually don't put those people in the general population anymore. They keep them segregated, so that's not going to happen. Secondly, there are methods that can be used in a forensic setting to describe whether or not a woman has been forcibly raped or not. We have excellent forensic ability right now. And believe it or not, that forensic ability still doesn't seal a case. You have to be absolutely certain about what's going on. And there are cases where rapes aren't prosecuted because there simply isn't enough evidence. Now, I believe that what you're looking for is, in rape, you're looking for tearing in the vaginal wall at 10 and 2 o'clock. I think that was what you were looking for, because you can tell a forcible rape when it happens. More importantly, it's important to get someone to the hospital as soon as possible if they've been drugged, so that they can get the blood sample to decide whether or not there's actually some sort of chemical that they've been given. Unfortunately, this is what happened to Alana Evans, where she was rohypnol at a party. It was probably rohypnol. Could have been GHB, any kind of the date rape drug. She was drugged at a party and she was raped. But because she didn't realize she needed to get to the hospital to get the blood test done soon enough, GHB, for instance, breaks down very quickly inside the body, so it's almost impossible to detect after about 24 hours. It means that the window of opportunity is very, very important. Okay, let's see here. Flambeau again. No, it is feminism that oppresses men. You can see this in the way Hate is poured on male sexuality and male viewpoints. Guys, do you feel like we're oppressed? Because I actually feel pretty good. I think I'm doing alright, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't feel oppressed. I don't see anybody trying to jump on me or anything like that. If there was only one way, this is thing too cool for you, this Flambeau idiot who responded to this. I think you are describing yourself. It sickens you that you are the spawn of women. What? Wait a minute. Flambeau, you're insinuating that it's possible not to be the spawn of a woman. You do realize that human beings reproduce sexually, don't you? Tab A fits in the slot B. You move around, and stuff comes out. Repeat as necessary. Are you saying that someone can be born out with not of woman? Are you reading Macbeth too often? Onward, Macduff. Not born of woman, born of cesarean section. Yeah, fuck it. Okay, thing too cool for you responds here. If there was only one way, then they should be included, however. I still don't think it should exist. We don't have it in the UK. Okay, what's going on here? It is more realistic to have women drafted than to remove the draft, as it always been an emergency measure. So what do you, as a feminist, advocate, knowing this? Actually, I advocate, and I think most people advocate, and I'm not a feminist, I advocate not sending people off to war if you don't have to, regardless of what gender they are. You idiot. But remember that these wars are often perpetrated, started, and continued by men, killing other men. So if you're going to jump on anybody, you need to jump on other men, you idiot, not feminists. Radical feminists actually have very, very little power at the end of the day. In academia and in the government. We've got a few that scream very, very loudly, but even their ability is negligible. Even their influence is negligible. And unfortunately, there have been people that have trumped it up over the years to make it sound like they're somehow in control of everything. They're not. Okay, that is enough from Monsieur Flambeau and his idiot cronies. Now earlier, Divinity had a video concerning rocking Mr. E. Now, this dickhead's never commented on any of my videos, so I don't... well, he's not gonna. I know he's not. He's a fucking coward. He's just not gonna do it. Period. And there is no such thing as this disposable male concept. You guys made this shit up. You made it up as a counterbalance to some of the radical feminists saying that women are disposable. But it's not the case. The loss of the male in society in the ancient world was felt in more ways than one, especially in those early days where men were often doing a lot of work in the fields to help produce food. If you lose 5,000 men in a battle, that's 5,000 less people working fields to produce food. That puts an enormous strain on society as a whole. You have 5,000 men who are no longer able to look after their families. You have 5,000 families of varying sizes who can no longer look out for themselves, and often very patriarchal societies where it was easy to fall into a trap of debt and then into debt slavery. I have talked about this before. We will talk about this about Mesopotamia in the later videos on war. This is a societal thing that affects everyone all the way down the ladder. It is not about sending men off to be killed. Often these were wars of defense. Even offensive wars are often couched in the idea that you are fighting a war of defense. Regardless, this affects the civilization as a whole, as described in the Melian dialogue. It wasn't just the men who suffered. The women and children, everyone suffered. This idea that somehow men have been the only ones suffering through history is complete and total bullshit, because I can pick out dozens of incidences that were actually far worse than the Melian dialogue, believe it or not. And if you want to, I will name a dozen of them. So stop pretending like this is somehow all on you guys, because it's not. Dumbasses.